friends already abstracted.
So a lot of speculation has been going around about what the Amazing Digital Circus might actually be.
The Amazing Digital Circus is a place to be enjoyed by all ages.
Well, with a lot of facts and theories going around, it's hard to presume what might actually be true and what could be wrong. The fact is, a lot of them are in fact wrong. The only facts that we can truly rely on is the plot, but a few things I do agree with. And the most crucial is the fact that the characters are in fact digital copies of real people and not in fact alive.
What is going on?
And if that's true, then what exactly is Caine? Some theorists did mention the fact that Caine is kind of like a god in the Amazing Digital Circus, but what if I tell you he actually isn't? Well, at least not yet, and he is actually a lot creepier than you can possibly imagine.
We don't venture out into the void.
Not even I know what's out there.
So I'll dive right in and show you. Times the Amazing Digital Circus's true plot was revealed and what Caine's true intention is.
We stay right here, where I can keep my hundreds of all-seeing eyes on you.
First off, let's talk about Kaufmo and Caine, beginning with the most overlooked scene and imagery in the Amazing Digital Circus's pilot episode. We see Jax, Ragatha, and Pomni face to face with an abstracted Kaufmo.
Kaufmo's been abstracted. That's okay. What?
Who made a killer first impression, by the way. Literally, what has mostly been ignored are the details of the drawings on Kaufmo's walls. And most importantly, this giant drawing of Kaufmo running away from Caine. And what's most terrifying about this drawing or painting, or whatever Leonardo Kaufmo was trying to depict, is actually the fact that we have seen this exact representation or depiction of Caine somewhere else.
Well, I think we both had something to learn from that experience.
And of course, that is episode 2, where Lulu, the NPC princess, references her god Caine through the same image.
You must be the brave knight sent to us by God to help us with our recent catastrophe.
That's us, ma'am.
Although this time the NPC went an extra mile to make it a mosaic version instead of the plain drawing by not-so-Leonardo Kaufmo. So this clue might have been intentionally added by the director of TADC, who we all know is Gooseworx herself, as a metaphor explaining that the Caine who we have all been made to believe isn't built like the other characters, isn't actually that different when you think about it. The truth is, he has a lot more information than the others, and yes, he's just another upload and might possibly be that of the creator of the Amazing Digital Circus. Well, not Glitch or Gooseworx, I mean like Digital Circus, you know what I mean? Well, if that's the case, then what actually made Kaufmo abstract? Well, you see, abstraction is actually a case where a character comes to the realization of what they actually are and what the Amazing Digital Circus actually is. They then tend to go completely insane because they realize they are nothing in entirety, and then they find out what their purpose actually is, thereby losing the will to live. So Kaufmo definitely experienced all three processes needed to make a freshly baked abstract. Now we move to plot breach number 2. In episode 1 of the Amazing Digital Circus, we see Caine tell Pomni to stay in this circus, where he can keep his hundreds of watching eyes on her.
We stay right here, where I can keep my hundreds of all-seeing eyes on you.
But why exactly? I thought anything goes in this world, or does he really hate swearing that much? Well, that's definitely not the case here. He might have made it seem as though he tries to prevent them from the void, which is mildly accurate. But the truth is, the Amazing Digital Circus only exists for one reason, and one reason alone, and that's for Caine to study the behavior of these precious characters, and that way he can create more NPCs that act more human. This is the only reason Caine cares about the mental stability, or rather instability, of these characters. Notice the whole exit incident with Pomni, where she ventured into the void. Caine uses the phrase, "they'll get totally spoiled." Sounds rather livestocky to me. You see, Pomni venturing into the void for too long would cause her to understand that she really isn't a real person, which will cause her to, well, spoil and of course disrupt his data collection, or more exciting, she might make like Kaufmo and, well, abstract. Okay, enough talk about Caine, and what better way to wrap it up but with the death of the beloved Gummy Goo. Still think he deserved the funeral and not that fraud Kaufmo. For now, let's focus on what Caine said after he obliterated Gummy. In this scene, after erasing Gummy Goo, he makes a rather terrifying statement about forgetting who is real and who is human. This statement left even him feeling a bit perplexed, because he is aware of the fact that none of them are humans and are only what you might call incomplete knockoffs. Also notice how at the end of the conversations he leaves to drink water, saying he hasn't done that in a while. Sounds to me like he's trying to reaffirm that he's actually human. Let's not forget that Caine apologized for hiding the exit, saying he knows how much he wanted to know there was one, but he didn't know what to put there, so this makes it even more clear that Caine would do anything to ensure that these characters think they're human, trapping them in a world which is an exact replica of the one they came from. But well, that didn't work out because some of them haven't adapted to the digital form, and that's why Pomni almost went insane when she saw a digital version of her desk. And of course, Pomni wasn't the first test subject for the whole exit dilemma. A certain clown, and yes, I meant that as Banter, was the first character to find the exit, and well, he ventured too far for too long, making him realize and see what he truly is, which of course caused Kaufmo to abstract. But why all the abstraction mayhem, and do other characters know about Caine's analysis exams he sugarcoats as adventures? Well, let's analyze how each of these characters actually think. First off, Zubul. Well, Zubul game plan is a bit basic, but if I'm correct, this character might actually be one of the smartest among them. Zubul abstains from interacting with other characters and participating in Caine's adventures, leaving him nothing to analyze, and I think her plan's actually working, cause we've seen him beg her twice to engage in his adventures, but she declines every single time to make sure he has nothing to collect, but this kind of leaves her vulnerable to Jax, who we've seen pester her multiple times. Next is Ragatha. This character is actually what you might call a saint. She might indeed be hiding a lot of pain, but she is willing to put all that away and instead put up a rather peaceful persona, leaving nothing but good for Caine to analyze and create more good and less Jax like NPCs. Next, we'll look at Kinger. Well, there's nothing much to explain here. He is the definition of spoiled. Perhaps after he lost the queen chess piece rumored or dubbed to be Queenie, Kinger might have lost track of both his personas. Kinger's mental instability has not resulted in abstraction because, well, he doesn't know what they really are actually. There's a possibility none of them do. Gangle's plan is really clear. She puts on her masks to ensure she hides her true personality and creates a version of herself that Caine can copy whilst protecting her real self and avoiding any mental breakdowns that can lead to abstraction. Also notice how Jax pushes the character to reach her breaking point and how her mask always gets broken. Phew, okay, let me catch my breath before moving on to the last two characters. First off, Jax. Despite the whole cool guy act, this character is so evil he might actually rival the devil, kind of like something that crept out of Arkham Asylum and possessed Hitler himself. Jax knows everything about the circus and will stop at nothing to ensure he destroys every single thing. So Jax, upon discovery that none of their lives matters, tries to make sure he destroys every single character and NPC. We can see him telling Ragatha that he kept a centipede in her room, which is her self-proclaimed biggest fear. We've also seen him abuse Kangol multiple times. He puts on the violent act to give Caine nothing but raw violence to mimic, whilst also preying on other characters to ensure they abstract and perhaps destroy everything in the process. This makes the relationship between Jax and Caine look a lot like God and the devil, affirming the film theorists' biblical claims to the amazing digital circus. Also notice in episode 1, he insisted on visiting Kaufmo with Ragatha and Pomni. So we can say Jax probably had involvements with Kaufmo's abstraction because learning the truth about Caine isn't possible. By just entering the exit, someone must have given him the final piece to complete the puzzle that is insanity. And who better to do that than Jax himself? And lastly, we have Pomni, the new character, and the closest to having human thoughts and reaction to certain events. That's probably why Caine insisted on an in-house adventure immediately after he had given her a name to test her reaction to certain things. And in the next episode, we see her making interactions with probably the closest thing Caine has come to making a human, gummy goo in an AI system Caine claims to be 57 times more immersive, probably from one day's worth of data from Pomni. And lastly, in episode 2, Caine rushes them into the portal when she asks questions about LARPing. By doing this, he tries to prevent her from putting on a mask and acting like she's supposed to immerse in the story instead of being her deviant self, unlike the other characters. Okay, so with all that, we can conclude that we might have figured out the plot of the amazing digital circus. But that still leaves a lot of questions, like what would Caine do if he creates the perfect system? Could he be creating something like the Matrix? And what would he do when he does become a god? Well, there's only one way to find out, and that's by hitting that follow button to stay updated on our analysis and a whole lot of TADC content. Do make sure to tell us what to cover next in the comments section, and see you all on the next video.